Welcome back, family and friends. Today we talk about sociology, the study of the development, structure, and functionality of human society. Basically how we comprehend the human experience as a bigger picture. Why is this important? Well, like we discussed in my previous episode, the importance of individual psychology for the development of trust and rational behavior in society. Sociology gives us the larger perspective in understanding how that translates into a group of people, a town, city, state, or country. Literally the basis for formulating our laws and governing principles. The application of rules in this game of life that we all subscribe to play by. An agreed consensus on what should be norms and values to establish a perceived, healthy community based on agreed upon morals, religion, and cultural beliefs. So who is responsible to ensure this process remains current and implemented? This is where the concept is flawed, in my opinion, as it is not widely understood and blame consumes otherwise intellectual reasoning. I say we are all responsible. See, a problem compounded by the lack of ongoing refinement and educational approach to the subject matter. At the core, a natural decay of accepted views in millennia-long constitutions occur. Time and technology, the arsonist and the fire of systematic sociological disorders. To name a few of the big ones: poverty, political corruption, and racial discrimination. All of which stem from learned traits associated with human behavior, coupled and fueled with egotistical negative factors such as greed and envy. Ultimately, this lust of power and or control stem from limitations on trust and perceived notions of security. We are all in a perpetual line and struggling to get to the front of it. Our collective belief of time and the application of technology formulates the foundation for a society whose forward momentum is almost dependent on sociological disorders. For example, the concepts of social economic classes and rivaling political perspectives actually serve to drive our concept of civilization progressively forward. Not to be perceived as right or wrong, but definitely an accepted set of rules designed to navigate an evolving society. As individuals, we are affected by the norms of society which govern even the best of the best amongst us. They are very limiting for the average individual, as what we think turns into what we do. The brunt of responsibility lies within the family circle, not to merely encompass immediate family alone, but also to depend on kinships, elders, and the basic educational model. It is my deepest belief in ensuring a sustainable society-based future, we should all subscribe to a basic set of fundamental rules, expanded on the core values and accepted moral objectives of humanity. The old adage of "it takes a village to raise a child" should not be abandoned with modern living, but embraced. The only way for a society of our size and diverse cultures to ever be on the same page is to establish a set of rules that is secular and comprehensive enough to cover all aspects of human development. Shockingly, no such thing exists. We misconstrue laws to fill this void. However, all they do is spell out the consequences of one's actions, not explain why the actions are considered unacceptable to society, or acceptable, such in the case of good deeds. Then we depend on religion or the family circle to do the rest. However, society is ever changing and evolving new norms. With no direction or guidance, the fear of a collapsing set of core values and morals is very real. The new generations are being raised in incomplete family structures. The distinction between good social habits and bad ones are being blurred. And school has turned into a for-profit entity altogether, stuck on teaching much of what is no longer needed. They teach math, but not personal finance. They teach language, but not how to communicate effectively. They teach science and history, but not how to avoid the mistakes of the past and how to cope with the countless health dangers facing society today. There are no societal goals, only political ones. No proactive approach to health, just a monopolistic reactive approach designed with only the health of business in mind. Money is prioritized overall, with humanity ignoring or dismissing the concept of love as unrealistic. Egotism and vanity consume time at the cost of deteriorating health, physical, mental, and spiritual. Sure, there are lots of conversation about it, but very little is being done to address the issue. To compound the problem, we have the overwhelming presence of social media and the addiction of imagery. Imagery that glorifies a single-parent lifestyle, for example, without addressing the reality of the problem. Focus is given to material things in life, but not addressing the human issues. We do a good job of complaining, but very little, if any, towards solutions. Now, some religious groups still thrive, while most are mocked and ridiculed. Politics and politicians, they consume the energy, the problem-solving public, and very little is left for addressing family issues. Counselors and therapists address the issue from a strictly one-on-one perspective and don't have a governing or advising structure to address the issues deteriorating society today. There remains a widening gap between social studies and a functional society that just isn't being addressed. As a result, we are slowly self-imploding, divided by the ambitious and the pitiful. Lack of trust and disinformation now runs amok as it all tethers on the edge of collapse. So what do we do? Well, whatever we do, it has to be radical. I believe we need something as large as educational reform to make an impact. We need a new definition of society, a clear understanding of widely accepted morals and values. We need to redefine the meaning of family and the roles we make example in them. We must, at the helm, redefine success to include that definition of family. A shift from materialism and vanity to humanity and purpose needs to occur to correct our trajectory. Some of the longest lasting legacies on earth come from societies who embrace honor, respect, and dignity as core societal values. We can learn from these examples to incorporate into our own, all of which can only be done from an educational level. This radical change can only occur by choosing to elect those that feel the same way. And we need to encourage their voices to be heard. Career politicians, they typically become entangled with the fulfillment of government only to satisfy current needs. What we need are passionate, progressive thinking to shake it up and bring about change like the Martin Luthers and Abraham Lincolns of history. It can only begin with those of us encouraged enough to start the process at home. We all have the power to encourage young minds to strive for this direction. It can be done, but we must be able to raise a few good men and women to champion the cause if we don't find it in ourselves to take on the challenge. I believe every human being can do this, regardless of age or past mistakes, or lack of education or financial inspiration. It will take countless heart-to-hearts with our youths who are currently on a blind path. It will require organizing, focus groups, political thinking reform. It will take sacrifice and, most of all, love to foster the patience to see it through. Who's up for the challenge? Remember this in your consideration. Our individual existence lasts only a moment. What will you be remembered for? What would your role in the existence of humanity be? To take frivolously from life with regards only to self? or to give passionately all you can to the collective struggle of humanity. When we die, we leave all the tangible behind. The ultimate question of life for me is, what do our souls take with us when we do? With that said, family and friends, this concludes my views on social studies and collection of series of life. And now that I've reviewed the basics, I will begin to tackle the more intimate issues involving our health, minds, and souls. As always, family and friends, stay tuned, and may your days be spiritually enlightened and filled with good health and prosperity. God bless.